I have just had the most amazing weekend. I've wanted to go and see Cradle Mountain and obviously draw there as well, ever since I moved to Tasmania. So that is what I'm going to be doing this weekend. This is what this video is. But I also visited my friend Freya. Now, she just purchased an old church in the country and it has its own pine forest plantation. And I thought I'd just show you a little bit of what we got up to.
Oh, what?
I don't know who built this.
That's amazing.
I'm absolutely gonna hang some heads on spikes and
hell yeah.
You know.
I met Freya a few years ago at a Tasmanian convention, and she was there doing her amazing stuff. And her stuff is she does kind of like special effects makeup, and she does kind of like cosplay and things, and she makes jewelry and she paints, and she's very creative. And she just so happens to like a lot of cool things that I also really like, fantasy and science fiction and horror, and yeah, we get along great. So this was our first time kind of like really hanging out properly together, and yeah, we had a great time. I didn't really film too much of my trip to see Freya because it was more just a hangout. So I just kind of filmed our little forest walk here, and we don't really have pine forests really in Australia. I mean, they're not natural. They're pretty much just planted for chopping down and regrowing and whatnot. And I've never really been in one before, so for me this was pretty awesome.
Okay. So they exist.
They keep the glass low, I'm going to keep mine low.
Yeah. Try not to have any water laying around as well.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, we saw 3.
It's like a dragon egg. Dragon egg.
Little dragon egg. That's cool. Can we take it?
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's prickly.
Oh, that would help my dream.
They're like, are you sure it was an eel? Maybe it was an eel. Like, eels wouldn't sliver on the top of the water.
But no, they wouldn't be
Home sweet home.
After you, good sir.
Oh, why thank you so much.
So I had a really great time at Freya's house. She's just really great company. She's a fantastic host. She cooked me dinner. I had some wine. We also played Crystal Clans, the board game that I worked on a couple of years back. I'd only played it a couple of times. So it's a 2-player game. I figured it was a perfect opportunity to bring because she plays board games too. So we did that till about 1 a.m. So I was pretty damn tired. But I had to get up the next day, and about lunchtime I was heading to Cradle Mountain. I'm from Hobart, which is all the way down in the south of Tasmania, and I've driven all the way up to Freya's church, which is 2.5 hours drive, and then we go through Launceston and then another 2.5 hours all the way to Cradle Mountain. try. I found a really nice spot to sit, but unfortunately I'm not used to battling the elements. It's very, very hot today, and there's a lot of flies. Like, I don't mind flies. There's also a lot of bees, and for some reason, maybe the bees like my hairspray or something, but it's impossible to sit anywhere without bees all over me. It's kind of freaking me out. It's very hard to try and get comfortable to try and draw anything, so I haven't fully decided if I'm going to give up, but I could always come back tomorrow morning and maybe there won't be so many bees about really early. So when I first arrived to Cradle Mountain, it was pretty late. It was about 4 o'clock. I raced down there, got the bus to Dove Lake, and tried to do some drawing, but it was extremely hot. The flies were everywhere, but I thought they were bees, so I was freaking out. And it was really off-putting, and there was also a lot of tourists around. So these are a lot of excuses as to why I didn't get too much drawing done. But I decided I would at least try and stand and do some preliminary sketches, because I found that as soon as I sat down and stayed still, all the flies would be on me, around me, buzzing in my face. It was pretty bad. So I kind of at least got a little bit of sketching done standing up. So while it was totally amazing to finally see Cradle Mountain, I went back home to my cabin, had dinner, chilled out, and decided that I would come back in the morning. I didn't have a lot of time the next day because I had to drive home, but I figured if I got up early I could get the bus down and maybe it would be better. And it was. It was so nice. The sun was covered by lots of clouds, so not quite as pretty, but it meant it wasn't hot at all. It was actually quite cool, and there was less flies and there was less people, and I was feeling very optimistic this was going to work. This is pretty good, right here. Pretty good spot. So I just continued on the sketch that I did previously when I was standing up, and yeah, it always throws me when I finally actually get comfortable out in the environment to draw. I kind of forget how to draw. It's just such a challenge to try and work out in the environment, completely out of your comfort zone, really. Although this does look pretty comfortable, I would have to admit. It was very, very tranquil. I really lucked out with that. But I have a long way to go. I'm still learning how to draw sceneries, and I've not really drawn a lot of mountains before. I have not really inked a lot of mountains and foliage and forests and that sort of thing. So while it's probably not the best representation of how to draw this, I'm learning, and I look forward to trying some new things and some different ways of making line to depict bush and forest and rock and water and all this kind of stuff. I don't think I've actually been out drawing in the environment since my last video I uploaded to YouTube, which was me just doing some sketching at the Botanical Gardens, and that was quite a few months ago, so I'm really out of practice. But there's just something about it, like I really enjoy getting out into nature, and I don't do it nearly as much as I should. And yeah, it's just really important as an artist, especially working full-time in my house, the four walls just really close in on you, and I just have to get myself out. And this is one way of doing it, and I'm hoping that you guys will kind of enjoy this sort of thing. I know it's not really my usual type of character art that I'm doing here, but yeah, I'm really hoping to get to some interesting places, and unfortunately I'm kind of stuck to not being able to travel overseas just yet, but when I can, I think it could be really special. You know, there's a lot of really cool things to see out there, and I think there's a lot to be inspired by. Actually really proud of this trip. It was only 2 nights away from home, but I overthink these things so much, especially when you do things by yourself. I do get anxiety, and I do get depression, as you guys know. And I know that going out and doing this is going to help me, but yeah, I put it off for so long. Just because just organizing it, and I'm doing it just for myself. Like, who am I to do this? But I did it, and it was a long ass drive. I mean, I guess it was only probably about 4.5 hours, but I've driven much further than that before. But just the simple fact of that I was just doing this for me, for nobody else. It felt good, and I'm really, really proud of myself for doing it, and I think I got a lot out of it. So while I didn't do too much drawing actually on location, I was still really proud that I actually went there. I got my ass out of the house, and I did it. So I drove the 4 hours home because I had to come home. I had to look after my dog, who was getting dropped back that day, and I crashed. I was exhausted when I got back. But the next day I've decided that, I really want to finish this drawing. I want to finish this painting. I want to make this video. I'm just going to do it. So today I have been inking and painting and all of the things, and editing this whole video just to get this done, because if I leave it too long, I know I'll never do it. Like I said earlier in the video, I don't really know what I'm doing in terms of these little watercolor inky drawings. Just making it up. Nobody's taught me what to do, and I haven't had any training, and it probably shows. But I am learning, and I'm already thinking that I would like to try a different technique to try and maybe get some more stuff done actually on location. Maybe chuck in that pencil sketch and then go straight to watercolors and really think about the colors. I've really got to get better with my watercolors, and utilizing the values and the white of the paper more, and all these sorts of things, because yeah, I'm kind of just winging it in what you're seeing right here. But it does make me think about how I could probably do things better in the future. So it would be really cool to be able to go to a location and actually kind of finish something there, rather than take it home and finish it that way. But, it's always nice to have that plan B, where if things go wrong, as long as I do some drawing on location, I'm reasonably happy with that for the moment. but it would be a goal of mine to really be able to do something on location and get it done and filmed. That would be awesome. But also just, yeah, trying different styles, and with the line work as well, like, I think I just need to look at some other artists who do this sort of thing and paint landscapes and paint nature and draw nature more like, and just to see what kind of marks they make and how they do things. I think that would really help me. But hey, it's all a learning process, right? And I'm having fun. Now, I should probably mention as well, before I get bombarded in the comments section about these things, I am working on, or in, a moleskine or moleskin sketchbook, and it is not watercolor paper at all. It kind of works for me, but I have to be really mindful about how much liquid and water I put on the surface of the paper, because it really does. It will warp. But I've kind of figured out how to do that now. I've been doing it for quite a while, so it works for me. But that's just something to keep in mind. Also, when you put the paint on top of the ink, it washes over the top, and it can kind of really work for you, as you can see in the mountains in the distance. It's made the line work like much more subtle, as if it really is in the distance, which is very cool. But sometimes you don't really want that, so I do kind of go back and re-ink over the top and just kind of punch out some things that I think should stand out a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this little adventure video. I certainly enjoyed experiencing it for myself. And I really like making these sort of things. So please let me know what you think. Positive or negative, that's fine. Just be respectful. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let me know if you want to see more. And if you don't, let me know why. Yeah, I'd be very curious to your thoughts. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you on the next one.